Hello and welcome to a different type of video. So those who don't know, I currently use my Mac Pro 2018 model with the touch bar as my workhorse. So a lot of the video tutorials you'll see are actually recorded on this very machine here. Main reason for that is just the portability of it, to be honest. I do have more powerful machines that have better setups for recording, but for something that I can just sort of sit down on a sofa, troubleshoot and record easily, the MacBook Pro 2018 just does the job for me. It's not the top model, but it's not the lowest spec either, and it just does the job. Anyway, I'm just kind of diverting from where I'm kind of going. So I've had a few experiences with iPads over the years. I actually had the first iPad that came out. This was back around 2010, 2011, something like that. I can't remember the exact year it came out, but I remember going into London, picking one up, taking it home and being amazed by it, and then basically starting to realise it was limited and problematic. So eventually I sold that. I then entered a bidding competition, sort of where you pitch your business. I came third and I won an iPad, which was, again, that's when I had my second iPad. This was an iPad 3 or 4, and it was, again, I use it a lot, but I kind of fell in the point where I needed money. It was quite a hard time, so I had no choice but to sell that iPad at that time, unfortunately. So that's where that went. Where I work, we have access to multiple iPads. So in fact, this is an iPad mini that I need to return to work, that actually I can't return to work at the moment because of lockdown. We have an iPad Pro at work, and we have a normal iPad. These are, again, older models, so they're using the old lightning cable connector. But again, these are all kind of, quite nice. I quite like the smallness of the iPad mini. The iPad mini still has definitely has a use case still. I like the fact it still has a button. That's something that we'll talk about when we get to the iPad Pro. So this week I managed to get the iPad Pro 2020 model. I got this through education discount, because where I work in education, so I managed to get a discount on it, which was fantastic. I went for the 256 gigabyte space gray Wi-Fi model. I never go for the 3G model or the 4G models just because data plans. So again, very nice packaging, just to show it's a 256 model, which it is there, 11-inch. I didn't go for the 12.9-inch model because the price for that was just extortionate for a couple of extra inches, which again is making the tablet then too big for my use case. But alongside that, I also wanted something to draw with, because I've had no experience with an Apple Pencil, but again, a lot of people I work with have got Apple Pencils and Apple devices, and they're saying, you should get an Apple Pencil, why have you not tried an Apple Pencil? So when I bought this, I had to buy myself a little Apple Pencil, and I even got it, if it focuses, engraved with Intermedia, which is my Twitter handle. So fantastic. I didn't realise that it has a little button, so when you double tap, it swaps the tool between a draw or eraser, which is a nice little touch. I will say Apple tax is heavy on these products. I don't think this is worth, I think it's about £110. It's definitely not worth that. It might be more, because again, I got this through education, so it's a little bit discounted for myself. But that kind of price is just ridiculous. But I wanted it, so I got it. So the iPad Pro, the reason I wanted it was because I do a lot of work with AR. I've had some experience in the past with the ARKit, back with when I had my old iPad. ARKit, when I had it, was just literally came out and I could see where it was going, but the interface and the method of creating things through Xcode was still a little bit problematic, and it just frustrated me, and I just kind of couldn't get along with it too much. So I moved on to AR Core, which is the Google version, essentially, and I found that a lot easier, more intuitive, and I even upgraded my phone to the Samsung S8 at the time, now on the S10 Plus, just to be able to do the AR Core capabilities. So for me, having augmented reality in my device has always been a kind of pushing forward goal for me. So the iPad 2020, let's just get this out. It's already been charged up and used. So let's just try and make sure everything doesn't fall out. So in the box you get your little Apple gubbins, which is your quick start guide, and some stickers again. I don't know why they included stickers. You have your charging USB-C cable to USB-C cable, which fantastic. I'm glad they've gone to USB-C on their most recent products. And we have this little power brick charging connector, which has a very nice little flip out pins, which again is a nice little Apple touch. Apple do make their products very pretty and very designer, although you are paying a heavy premium for that. So, iPad Pro 2020. First thing you'll notice is we have no button at all, same as the 2018 model. We have our two volume rockers on the side, which are here. Here, this is our magnetic connector, so if I was to get my pencil and just sort of hold it, it will tap on and it will automatically detect the fact that I've connected it there and charge it up, which again is just beautiful. The unlock is a little power button at the top. So for me, it's got Face ID already set up, so it can see my face and has already unlocked it for me. So I just need to swipe. And again, the Face ID works exactly the same as the latest iPhones. So it has a depth sensor at the front. But what makes this model so different to the 2020 model is not just the fact that it's got a slightly more improved processor and efficiency. It's the fact that it's got these two lenses with this little LiDAR scanner. So what this LiDAR scanner basically does, it allows it to get a better sense of depth. So when you're doing things with ARKit, although there's not a lot of experiences yet that actually use ARKit with this capability enabled yet, it'll actually allow you to be able to occlude things. So if something's been augmented, you can pass your hand in front of the object and the object will still track behind it. So it'll actually work out where it is within the 3D space. Then here we have again our little connectors, so we can connect this to cases and keyboards. I'm aiming to get the keyboard Pro, the Magic Keyboard, although that is again Apple tax heavy. One thing I really don't like about this, I don't know, again I might be wrong, I haven't had enough experience with this yet, is the fact that I can't really go back easily. I haven't worked out how to go back in terms of, like, I can swipe forwards and backwards like this, but if I was to hold one of these apps like this until we go to the edit home screen, I can't work out how to press back. I know there's a done button, so I can just press that and it cancels it. But when I'm in sort of like YouTube and I play a video, I can't easily just go back to the previous video without having to go through buttons. Whereas with my phone, I just have to swipe. So again, that might just be, it might be a feature that's in there, but I haven't come across it yet. So I'm just going to show you one of the core apps I found on it, which is Hedges. And what this is it uses the front LiDAR scanner. So I'll try and see if it should show it. There we go. So as you can see, it's using the front depth sensor. This app is available on the iPhone 11 and 10, I believe. Ones with the depth sensor at the front. And I can actually 3D model a scan from this. I'm using the free version, so I can't actually record anything, so I can't take the scan. But another one I'll show you is this one called Record 3D. So Record 3D does again a similar thing, but I can record the screen and start talking and going, hello, I'm Stephen Fisher. This is a test of the front depth sensor doing a video. I can then go to my library and play that back. And as you can see, we have our video playing and it's split it up into 3D layers. So with this, you could actually import this onto Facebook and it would work as a 3D video. And again, I just think that's quite cool and something I couldn't do with my previous generation tablet. So yeah, it's cameras at the front. So we've got our front camera, which again is a standard Apple camera, pretty good, pretty nice. You've got your panel options, your slow motion options, time lapse, etc. You've got your two rear cameras, so I can swap to the rear camera like so. And then here we have our 0.5, which is our ultra wide, and our 1, which is our wide angle camera. But we can also toggle anywhere in between by just scrolling the wheel like so. It can record in 4K, so I've got it at 4K 30 at the moment, but it can do 4K 60. I tend to keep it at 4K 30 just because of the frame rate is easy to work with when I come to editing with this tablet. I'm aiming to use this tablet largely for streaming with, so I actually have got a, let me just show you, put this down here for a sec. I got the little Ulanzi tablet mount, which I can just adjust the size. It's made out of metal, so it's pretty strong. It's got 2 connectors for a tripod mount, and just allows me to then be able to see myself while I'm doing videos, and when I'm doing streams, I'll be able to actually see chat and live stream the footage from the device at the same time. Just because I have a distinct lack of a camera. Actually, at the moment, as you can probably already tell, I'm recording this on my phone, mounted onto a tripod, hence why I can't give you very fancy angles. But yeah, the iPad Pro is just, for me, as somebody who hasn't had an iPad for so many years, it's kind of a worthwhile investment. If you've got the iPad 2018, it's not worth it, really, unless you're really going to take advantage of LiDAR capabilities. But at the moment, there's still nothing really utilizing it enough to warrant the expenditure that you would have to buy a new one, essentially. But for myself, who hasn't had an iPad since the iPad 4th gen, and the fact that now I got the pencil and I kind of want to get back into drawing, the ability to have a big screen and be able to just draw freely onto the screen and create pretty images is just something that for me is was worth it, basically. But again, if you're just after a simple iPad, you can use this like you've probably seen a lot of videos on this. You can use this as a computer replacement to a degree. I say to a degree. You can do basic Premiere Rush edits. You can do Photoshop to a degree. You can do Illustrator. You can play Apple's own games, but bear in mind these are basically the iOS games. You can also screen mirror, so I can quickly just open up my tablet, my computer, connect it to second display, and it now turns my iPad into a second monitor for my computer, which again is just can be quite useful. It'll just give me a bit more screen space to work from. The only thing is the touch functions don't work for the icons. You can plug a keyboard and mouse via Bluetooth into it. I don't at the moment have a Bluetooth mouse, so again I'm sort of trying to build up the equipment, but we're in a kind of weird time and finances are kind of cautious. This was for me an expense, and if it wasn't for the fact I could get it on educational discount, I wouldn't have pursued the matter. But the iPad Pro 2020, if you've already got an iPad, not worth it. If you're upgrading from an iPad 4, 5 or iPad Air, maybe, iPad Pro possibly is worth it. The iPad Air is not. It's quite good value if you just have to want something that's light and more cost effective. The iPad Pro is more for your designers, your illustrators, and for those who are really into augmented reality at this point in time. So it's not a device I would recommend to everybody if you're just generally watching general media or consuming things like YouTube or web browsing. I'd still recommend something like the iPad mini, iPad Air, or the standard iPad models. But if you're a heavy duty user and you want to be using this for kind of professional work, then the iPad Pro definitely has a place if you can find it for the right price. That's my review on it. Sorry this has not been as professional as some of the other videos or reviews you'd have seen on this device, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on it as somebody who has Apple devices but actually is not a fan of Apple devices. I have to use Apple devices largely because of where I work, and if I could find cheap alternatives or there's a decent Android alternative, I would have gone for that instead. But sadly, there isn't an Android tablet at the moment that I've seen or experienced that actually can still deal to the same level as what an iPad can deal with. Laptop-wise, I will say there's definitely better laptops than the MacBook line, including the MacBook Air, the newest one. You'd be much better off value getting a Windows machine with a higher spec. The cooling on these machines is dreadful. They basically throttle like mad. And in fact, this one's already had to have a screen replacement because of the heat exhaust basically burning the bottom corner of the screen because the heat ventilated upwards. So I actually have issues rendering videos on this device. What should take me probably about half an hour can sometimes take an hour or longer. And the machine, as you probably could tell in some of my videos, the fans whiz up very quickly, quite spontaneously. And even though I've tried to get rid of it from my latest micro setups, it's still a pain in the ass. So for me, tablet-wise, Apple make the best tablets. Laptop-wise, there's definitely better alternatives out there, especially considering Apple are refusing to move to AMD at the moment, although that may change. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.